Let me first give all praise and all honor to the God of my ancestors, the God of Africa, the Almighty Amen-Ra. This is your brother Radio 1 coming back at you again with another video of truth and historical reality. Now the name of this video is The God of Israel Enslaved Black Americans, not Egyptians. Yes, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now you know when the Hebrew Israelites tell black people that don't go back to Egypt, you're not Egyptian, forget about those Egyptians. Our people was brought back into Egypt on slave ships according to Deuteronomy 28, which is a lie. Okay? We were brought from West Africa to Egypt, not from Israel to Egypt. But, and as I said before, if the truth is not present and the truth teller is not present to tell the truth, then the liar and the lie will prevail. But as long as the truth is present and the truth teller is present to tell the truth, then the lie shall be exposed and debunked. Yes, because when the truth is present, there's no denying it. Yes. But in order for the truth to be present, the person or the brave soul who has enough courage to tell it must be present to tell the truth. Yes. And with that said, okay, when the Hebrew Israelites say that we were brought back into Egypt as slaves, that is a lie. That is a lie that can be dismissed. But truth is, the historical reality is, the black slaves taken from Africa or from West Africa and brought to America were taken by, not Egyptians, but were taken by Christians, white Christians, who were followers of Israel. Yes. White Christians who were followers of the Bible. That's who enslaved black Americans. Okay? The founders of America. The first town built in America, Jamestown, Virginia, was named after King James, a white Christian, a follower, a worshiper of the God of Israel. That town was named after King James. Yes, the same King James who wrote the King James Bible. Yes, Jamestown, Virginia, the first town in America. And Jamestown was also the first town to bring black slaves from West Africa to America. Then after that, you had the 13 colonies. The 13 colonies were also founded by white European Christians who followed the God of the Bible, who were worshipers of the God of Israel, not worshipers of the God of Egypt. Yes, in other words, black Americans were not brought here to America as slaves by Egyptians, but they were brought here as slaves by followers of Israel or Christians. Yes. So any ideal that we were the slaves under the gods of Egypt can be dismissed. It is a lie. Now, when we deal with Exodus, see, the Hebrew Israelites want to live in the past. We're not living in the past. We're not living 3,000 years ago. We're living now. We're living in 2019. Okay? When we deal with 3,000 years ago in the book of Exodus, when it says the Israelites were slaves in Egypt. Yes, the Israelites were slaves under the God of the Egyptians. And the Israelites were enslaved by Egyptians 3,000 years ago in the land of Egypt. But today, we black Americans are here in America. And we were enslaved. Yeah, and we were enslaved by followers of Israel, not Egyptians. So the Egyptians, our ancestors, are not our enemies. Okay? So it is the other way around. The Israelites, they were enslaved in Egypt. They were enslaved by the Egyptians. But us, black Americans, the Egyptians, the true descendants of the Egyptians and Pharaoh, were enslaved by the God of Israel and by the followers of Israel, which I will call Israelites anyway. Yes, Christian, Israelite, Jew, I see them all as the same. They all followers of Israel. They all follow the same God, and they all follow the same Bible. Okay, but the white man or the white Christian in America, the white American is not Egyptian. He's a fake Egyptian. He's not Pharaoh. Okay, the white man in America is not a descendant of Pharaoh. He has no blood ties whatsoever to the pharaohs of Egypt. He's a fake Pharaoh. And even when you look at the Egyptian monuments that's in Washington, D.C., in front of the White House, okay, that has nothing to do with real Egypt. That's a fake Egypt. Even on the dollar bill, when it has the pyramid, the Egyptian symbols, this was not made by Egyptians. These were made by white European Christians who have a fascination for Egypt. Doesn't mean that they are Egyptians. Okay? But you, black Americans, you are the real Egyptians. Those monuments in Washington, D.C., those Egyptian symbols on that dollar bill represents you. Those are your ancestors. You're not descendants of Israel. You're not Hebrew. And please tell me why Bible followers, yeah. Please tell me why Bible followers will enslave other Bible followers. That makes no sense. Bible followers are not going to enslave other Bible followers. The reason for the enslavement was to get Africans over here and convert them to Christianity and convert them into believing, and one day believing, that they are an Israelite or they are a worshiper of Yahweh, the God of Israel, the God who enslaved them. Yes. So let's not get it twisted. Don't play these games with me. You can't play these games with me. My knowledge is too superior. My knowledge is far beyond yours. And on top of that, my common sense and my honesty is far beyond yours. My courage is far beyond yours. Don't play me for a fool. See, the Hebrew Israelites want our people to be fools and just believe what they say. But no, we can't do that. So, as I said before, yes, the slaves brought to America were brought by white Christian Bible followers and white Christian followers of the God of Israel. Yes, you were enslaved by the God of Israel. Okay? Were the Israelites enslaved under the gods of the Egyptians and enslaved by the Egyptians 3,000 years ago according to the book of Exodus? Yes. Were the black Americans or were the slaves taken from West Africa and brought to America, were they enslaved under the gods of Egypt and by the Egyptians? No. Were the West Africans or the slaves brought to America from Africa enslaved under the God of Israel and by the followers of Israel? Yes, that is a fact. So when they tell you to stop following Egypt, do not listen to them. Because your slave masters are followers of Israel. Okay, and the God that is enslaving you and keeping you down as a slave is the God of Israel. So you're going to have to seek power and knowledge and inspiration from your Egyptian ancestors and from the gods of Egypt in order to get out of this enslavement under the God of Israel. Yes. That's a fact. But let's go to, and we're going to cut it off real short here, but let's go to Isaiah 14, okay? And listen to what it's saying. And we're going to show who the real oppressors of black Americans are. And it goes on to say, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them, and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for the servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Okay? And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Meaning in Egypt. So it's talking about the Israelites who were slaves in Egypt under the gods of Egypt. Okay? The Lord will have mercy on them, mercy on Jacob, and choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall join with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Okay? And the people shall take them, and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for the servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Now, did you hear that? They shall rule over their oppressors. Who were their oppressors? The Egyptians, the Hamites, Pharaoh. That's you. And you have to seek to your Egyptian, your African ancestors in order to rise to power and get out of your oppression and rule over them. That's what it's saying. But let's move on. Isaiah, okay, 45 and 14. Thus saith the Lord, the labor of Egypt and the merchandise of Ethiopia and of the Sabaeans, man of stature, shall come over unto thee, and they shall be thine, and they shall come after thee in chains. They shall come over, and they shall fall down unto thee, and they shall make supplication unto thee, saying, surely God is in thee, and there is none else, and there is no God. So it's saying that the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, you, black Americans, Africans, okay, you are Africans. You have nothing to do with Israelites being in Africa. No, the Israelites went to East Africa. Isaiah 11 and 11, the Israelites migrated into East Africa, Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia. That's where the Israelites went. But you, black Americans, you are West Africans. The Israelites never were in West Africa. The migration was never made. Yes, maybe there were some converts there, but true Israelites were never in West Africa. The migration was never made. And even the converts in West Africa were never slaves. They were not the slaves. Let's make that clear, okay? So it's clearly saying that the Egyptians and the Ethiopians will bow down to the God of Israel. Yes. Yes, and it says, thus saith the Lord, the labor of Egypt and the merchandise of Ethiopia and the Sabaeans, man of stature, shall come over unto thee, and they shall be thine, and they shall come after thee in chains. Your ancestors were in chains. Okay? Africans in chains. And they shall come over, and they shall fall down unto thee. They shall make supplication unto thee, saying, surely God is in thee. Okay? Then it goes on to say, but they shall, verily art thou a God. Yes, this is a, surely God is in thee. There is no God. Verily thou art a God that hidest thyself, O God of Israel, the Savior. Okay, so it's saying that the Egyptians, the descendants of the Egyptians and the Ethiopians, will convert and serve the God of Israel. And that is you, black Americans. That is you. You are the convert. You are the slave. You are the oppressed who were enslaved under the God of Israel. And you were enslaved by the followers of Israel. And now, because they have converted you, you are now wanting to be or claiming to be an Israelite. You're taking on their identity. That is the truth. That is the historical reality. And those are the facts. Black Americans, today, we are not enslaved under the gods of Egypt. We are not enslaved by the Egyptians. Because we are the Egyptians. We are the true descendants of the Egyptians. Ezekiel 29, 30, and 31 makes it very clear that the descendants of Pharaoh will lose their power. And they will be banished into the desert land to the southwestern interior of Africa. Okay? Those are our ancestors. But the white man in America is a fake Egyptian. He is a fake descendant of Pharaoh. But he is a Christian. He is a European Christian. When he first came over here, he was a European Christian. Okay? And that is the truth, and that is the historical reality. Black Americans, yes, our ancestors, your ancestors, were slaves under the God of Israel, not the Egyptians. But it is the Egyptians that you must seek to for power, strength, and courage and inspiration to get out of this oppression under the followers of Israel and the God of Israel. This is your brother Radio 1 signing out, coming at you with another video of historical reality. And until next time, Egypt stays in Africa. Peace and Amen Ra.